Thank you for listening.
This week on the Keep 1 Million show, Michigan Wolverines are your national champions as they beat the Washington Huskies. We're going to talk about that and what's next for Jim Harbaugh. Big news out of football as Nick Saban retires from Alabama, Pete Carroll leaves Seattle Seahawks, and Bill Belichick leaves the New England Patriots. The three biggest coaches of our generation is leaving their teams. What's next for those coaches? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to get into the NFL wildcard weekend. We're going to give you our picks and what's going on in sports media in the wake of Cat Williams, Pat McAfee, and Stephen A. Smith are telling their truth. We're going to talk about that and everything in between, in and out of the sports world. So keep it locked right here on the Keep 1 Million show.
All right, fam. What's going on, YouTube fam? We about to get this on. I'm on mic 3. Hopefully, mic 3 is good today. Oops. We can't buy freedom, but we don't really need them. So what's inside? I love a wealth. Where the ball is at? And white man get paid off for all of that. Holier than thou. I went to Chickens with 25,000. Now I'll do it again. Pushing the bins. I won't get specific. I'm just the first to admit it. Kanye's first three albums were like classics. Right? I need to go back and listen to 808 and Heartbreaks though, so that wasn't one of my favorites. But
that one.
That's
also a classic.
Huh?
That one's also a classic.
Yeah, but
it's different.
It rubbed me the wrong way the first time I heard it. I gotta listen to it again because it was just different. Yeah. So I know a lot of people that said after that fourth one, man, they think it was good.
We've been waiting for a long time. Yes, we've been waiting for a long, long time. We've been waiting for a long time. But we ain't gonna wait no more. We're getting ready to rock and roll. We're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
And we're back. Keep 1 Million show. I'm Dwayne.
Sean Pate.
It is January 11th, 2024. And shout out to all the Capricorns.
Yeah.
It is Capricorn season.
Yeah, my two sisters, they Capricorns. So,
All right. My birthday's next week.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, shout out to the Capricorns. There's so many in January. But not talking about Capricorn season. We're talking about what's going on in the NFL right now as major news comes out as Bill Belichick is out as the Patriots
Yeah.
coach. And, you know, there's been rumors about this all the way back when that game in Germany. They lost the game in Germany. And, you know, Robert Kraft said some things kind of cryptic, and, you know, people was wondering, was he going to fire him then? You know, how bad that game was.
He's going to let him finish the season out.
Right, you know, just really out of respect.
Yeah, out of respect.
And, you know, 24 years,
6 Super Bowls.
6 championships, most ever in NFL history. You know, he has 8, technically.
Oh, yeah, 2 of the
Being
Giants. Yeah.
Defensive coordinator with the Giants.
Yes.
But he's, you know, considered the greatest coach in NFL history. I mean, what, like, context can we put that on right there?
I mean, he's considered the greatest coach in NFL history. Arguably, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, coach in North American sports. The 4 major ones: hockey, football, baseball, basketball. You know, you talk about the greats in those pro sports. You know, you talk about Phil Jackson. You talk about Scotty Bowman with hockey. You talk in football, it's Bill Belichick.
Right.
You know, so, you know, baseball, I guess you would say, either if you go all the way back to the Philadelphia Athletics, you could say Connie Mack or some of those Yankee managers. You know, so I mean, his legacy is there as cemented. This is not the way he wanted to go out. I can tell you that, and he's going to be a top candidate for these openings. I mean, the most attractive one to me is Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, I think that is for a lot of these coaches that are out, a lot of these coaches that haven't been coaching, coaches that's from college. Yeah, the Chargers is the #1 destination because of all the weapons they have, offensively and defensively. We're going back to Bill Belichick and everything. People are really kind of picking at, taking shots at him right now, saying that he wouldn't be the coach without Tom Brady. If you see before Tom Brady, when he was with Cleveland, you know, they did win a playoff game. He got fired over there. The Patriots before Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe, and people forget
They weren't bad.
They were a playoff team. Drew Bledsoe at the time was regarded as the best quarterback in the league. I mean,
He got hurt.
If you see there's a documentary about the whole Bledsoe, Tom Brady, that whole situation, and I forgot. In 99, 2000, 2001, the best quarterback in the league was Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, he was lighting it up.
Yeah, over 3,000-4,000 yards. Yeah, he gets injured.
He actually came back because I think Tom got injured. He came back and won
He came back, won the
playoff game. Yeah,
and got them to the Super Bowl. And then there was the whole issue of who was going to play in the Super Bowl, and Bill Belichick went with Tom Brady over Drew Bledsoe, basically ended Drew Bledsoe's career.
Well, in New England, he ended up going to Buffalo.
Right. Well,
yeah,
he had some good games in Buffalo
he had some
too.
good games in Buffalo. Yeah.
But people are saying, kind of like the Phil Jackson situation, what would Phil Jackson be without Kobe and Shaq and Jordan and Pippen?
Yeah.
You really can't look at it like that, especially with Bill Belichick, because they both needed each other. Even with Phil Jackson, they needed each other, because what would Tom Brady be without Bill Belichick? If there was another coach there, would he have one of those 6 Super Bowls? I mean, yeah, he went to Tampa Bay and won that Super Bowl, with the team already constructed before him.
Yeah.
But they built that team from the ground up. Started from beating that St. Louis team that was a juggernaut.
A juggernaut, man.
Yeah. And from then on, beating the Eagles, beating all these teams who were submitting as, if they won the championship, they're the top cream of the, and they beat all of them. So you got to give them respect to Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
I got to say it, the Giants are the team that beat them twice. Eagles beat them once.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the secret to beating Belichick was this, and Dougie P showed you this. He said you don't overthink it. You don't overthink it. You and you go in and coach. When you try to overthink it and try to out Belichick, that's when you lose. Look at what happened to Pete Carroll. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. When you try to do that, it goes wrong.
Right. And just as that, you just said Pete Carroll when that Super Bowl, instead of him using beast mode to win that Super Bowl, they put a play in that the defense already seen before and knew where the ball was going, and that's from coaching from Bill Belichick. Giving them the tools, especially on the defensive side. He's an excellent defensive coach.
Yeah.
They get that interception, win the game, an amazing play, an amazing Super Bowl. To this day, I mean, it's still talked about right now. I mean, Marshawn Lynch talked about it in one of his podcasts and everything. I mean, that Super Bowl is going to be talked about forever.
Yeah, I think I remember Marshawn Lynch talking about it on Club Shay Shay, and also last night I watched Nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco, and they were talking about that. They were talking about how, and I love listening to them talk football. They was just breaking it down. It's like, look, that play was destined to fail. Like, you're picked there. It's like, and Chad Ochocinco was like, look, I'm gonna get the ball to beast mode every single time on the 1 yard line.
Right.
I'm gonna give it to you every time.
Right. And I think it was Trey Law. What was his name? The defensive back for the Patriots.
Oh, Malcolm Butler.
I think it was Butler or Law. One of them said that when they seen the actual the lineup, they knew exactly what play it was, because it was a play that they knew that the Seahawks had, and they knew when they was going to play it. In the red zone, they know where the ball was going to be thrown, a quick slant, and they know exactly where the ball was going to be.
I mean, it's a lot of things that could have went with that play. I mean, what's his name? Russell Wilson could have gave a hard pump fake to get there, because the defender's going to jump on it. He's going to bite. And then if it's not there, throw the ball away. I mean, he could have audibled out.
A lot of things could happen, but you got to think, just like I say, you have Pete Carroll versus Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick beats Pete Carroll on that play.
Yeah.
Right there is coaching. Speaking of Pete Carroll, he's out as the Seahawks coach.
Yeah.
After being there, going to a Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls, winning one, and the Super Bowl they lost, we just talked about. He's the only coach in football that's won a national championship, an outright national championship with USC, and then goes on to the NFL and wins a Super Bowl.
No, Barry Switzer did. He won at Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Him and Jimmy Johnson.
Right,
Jimmy Johnson
right.
won in Miami.
You're right. Them 3 are the ones. You're right. With Miami and with Oklahoma, Barry Switzer. Right. Now, you could also say with Pete Carroll, what is he without Russell Wilson? And we see Russell Wilson didn't do great with Denver. He didn't have time to, but without Russell Wilson, I think the Seahawks should have been better. They missed the playoffs.
But this year, they made the playoffs
They
last
made the
year.
playoffs last year on that high of Geno Smith. This year, injuries and everything kind of messed things up for Geno, but that defense was kind of wasn't as great as it used to be.
Yeah.
The offense was still kind of, they didn't have the players they needed, and it seems like football has passed Pete Carroll by. Do you think so?
Shoot. Passed quite a few people by. I do believe that Pete Carroll has gotten passed by Belichick a little bit too. And the thing about Belichick though, the Patriot way is what bit him. You know how you always say it was the Patriot, and the Patriot way is what bit him. So it happens to players and coaches all the time. The game just it changes, and you have to change with it, or you have to move on.
Right now, both coaches are still. They're both 72 years old. They're both still energetic. Both still focused on the game, and possibly
they can get another job.
see them somewhere else. They say Pete Carroll's going to be an advisor to the Seahawks. Bill Belichick, there's rumblings of him maybe talking to the Falcons or the Chargers.
I think the Chargers went horrible.
Yeah, I think so too. And the next thing we're going to talk about that. The Michigan Wolverines win the national championship, and Nick Saban retiring from Alabama, and that's a huge ripple effect in college football. But you also have Mike Vrabel out at Tennessee. Where is he gonna go? Will he go back to New England? I just read an article about Jared Mayo, who's already there, defense coordinator, could also get the job at New England. But they do have to do the Rooney Rule. They do have to go in the process of the coaching search. And I was reading that article, watching the video of it was Mike Florio of NBC, and he was saying that maybe Vrabel should wait for the Chiefs or the Steelers, and it's like they're both in the playoffs.
Like, why?
Exactly. Why would the Steelers fire Tomlin after he did such a great job bringing them back
with what he had?
No quarterback, a third-string quarterback.
At all.
Now T.J. Watt's injured, but he was in and out most of the season, bringing them to the playoffs. And Andy Reid coming off of 2 Super Bowls, they have a not so Chief-like season. They're going to be the 5 seed, but they still can.
They can
go deep in the playoffs. They can make a run. So I don't know what this guy is talking about. That Vrabel could wait for one of those jobs, though. He can be waiting forever.
Yeah. Oh man.
He's gonna be waiting forever.
Tomlin and Reed are not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. They're cemented where they're at. Them they're not going anywhere.
Speaking of cemented, I'm thinking those 2 teams are gonna give them statues. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, Doug Peterson has a statue in Philly.
Yeah.
So I would think those 2 coaches, future Hall of Fame coaches, they're definitely not going nowhere.
Yeah.
Vrabel, on the other hand, he's a good coach. He'd possibly be a better defensive coordinator. So let's say this. If Belichick gets the Charger job, does he bring on Vrabel as defensive coordinator?
That's a good question.
I think everybody's waiting to see what Belichick is going to do. This may take a couple of weeks.
Belichick and Harbaugh. It's those 2 right there. Belichick
for
and
Chargers,
Harbaugh.
right? And when I heard someone talk about Belichick or the Falcons looking at Belichick, I'm not sure that's a good fit. They don't have a quarterback. They have some pieces. They only need a quarterback. And, where they're at in the draft, I'm not sure. But the Chargers have everything in place. They've been snake-bitten so many times, and it's always about the coaching. We're going to come right back. We're going to talk more NFL and college football as Michigan Wolverines win the national championship and Nick Saban retires. Keep it locked right here. It's Keep 1 Million Show.
Yes, sir.
You got me! The galaxy is safe once again.
In
the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Turn it down a little bit in the headphones.
And we're back to Keep 1 Million Show, 90.7 FM KRDP. Please go to listen to number 2, krdp.com. Now, Michigan Wolverines beat Washington Huskies. And I kind of had a feeling at first that they weren't going to win because their quarterback really wasn't throwing the ball.
Talking about J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought it was just going to be a matter of time before Penix kind of, got settled in and pick his spots, but it didn't happen. The Michigan defense is possibly the best defense in college football. Interceptions in the game. And Jason McCarthy finally, towards the end, heated up. They were up big in the first half and then kind of, sputtered off in the second half, but then, turned it back on and ran away with it. So this is Harbaugh's first national championship. He's been to the Super Bowl with the Niners. What does he do next? Does he go back to the NFL? The people saying there's already, contracts ready for him to sign in certain teams. Like we talked about the Chargers and, other teams, possibly the Falcons. He's possibly the number one candidate for all these teams. The Titans. Where do you think he goes? Does he stay or does he go?
No, he goes because there's no reason to stay. He did everything he did everything he could do there. When he went there, he built the program back up. He beat Ohio State. Well, when as soon as Urban Meyer left, he started beating Ohio State and got a national championship. Now it's time to just go ahead and move on and get a Super Bowl so he can be included in that group. Have a national championship in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And the Chargers are. It's just been rumored. It'd be almost perfect for him because they pretty much already had the pieces, and he's a big splash. And in Los Angeles they always say it's more things to do than just to watch a football game.
Exactly.
And that's a Laker town too.
And you needed a celebrity type of coach or celebrity type players to be over there to engage the fans. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
The thing is, with Jim Harbaugh, he can leave, and the players wouldn't mind it. The players have already talked about, if he leaves, it's fine because of the foundation he put there, and the coaches that he has in place to, carry on his culture. Remember, he was basically out half the season with all these suspensions.
5 games.
And they still won those games with their coordinators. So if he leaves, you know, he has these coordinators in place, and I think this is the same blueprint that Coach Prime in Colorado wants to have, to where they have a foundation in place if Dion decides to leave Colorado. There's coaches, there's a foundation, there's a culture in place that they can move on. It's like Shador and his other brother, Shiloh, they're not going to be there in a couple of years. So you got to have those other backups and everybody coming in. I think he's starting that, and the blueprint to finishing is Michigan. How Jim Harbaugh started, changed the culture, you know, put the whole college football on notice, talking about NIL and wanting to pay the players, and talking about wanting more piece of the pie for players as far as revenue sharing and everything like that. These are stuff that other coaches was taboo, you know. And I say that to say, with Nick Saban retiring, because he is retiring, you know, people are talking about he may retire because of the NIL and this new college football landscape. Because remember, this is the last year of the Final Four. It's going to 12 teams. I think they're going to do something, reworking the transfer portal, the NIL, and everything like that. And these super conferences are coming in. So the NIL is going to be very, very huge and instrumental in grabbing players. And Nick Saban was highly against NIL. A lot of SEC coaches were highly against it. So I think
Dabo was against it too.
Exactly. Do you think he left because of that, because of the new landscape coming, or was it just time for him to leave?
I believe that was a big part of it. I believe that Nick Saban, he just didn't want to deal with the new way of doing things, the NIL deals, the transfer portal, and he was getting old. He's getting older. He just was like, nah, I'm good.
Right.
I'm good. Let me just go ahead and move on.
Now, Nick Saban, regarded as one of, if not the greatest college football coaches in history. 7 championships. 6 with Alabama, 1 with LSU. Didn't do well in the NFL, you know, with Miami.
Not at all.
Yeah, he cemented himself as one of the top football coaches ever. Who comes after Nick Saban?
What do you mean, as in
coach? Who's gonna succeed Nick Saban?
In Alabama. Ooh, those are big shoes to fill, and I wouldn't want to be that coach, because if you don't win a national championship within 2 years, they gonna be looking at you side-eyed. I don't know who could. I don't know who could do it.
Now, what I was looking at, everybody was talking. You know, a bunch of his disciples. Lane Kiffin, Kirby Smart.
Well, Kirby's down there in Georgia. He ain't going nowhere.
People said Dabo Sweeney, but I definitely doubt that. Sarkisian in Texas, I don't think that's going to happen. The coach at Oregon already said he's not going anywhere. I really think maybe the only coach would be Lane Kiffin.
Where's he at?
He's in Ole Miss. He's missed out on a lot of big-name recruits over there in Ole Miss. And I think going to Alabama, you know, he went from USC. He's bounced around so many times. You know, he was Nick Saban's offensive coordinator in those, you know, championship years. Sarkisian was their defensive coordinator. And for both of them, that resurrected their career. Going to Alabama, going under the tutelage of Nick Saban, and having that foundation of coaching to where they can go to another school and succeed. You see Sarkisian with all his troubles at USC and everything. It's kind of ironic. Both of those coaches did fail miserably at USC. Now they're succeeding at their schools, but I think with Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, he just can't get the big names over there. So I think going to Alabama, he's going to get them because a lot of players, their number one wide receiver recruit just decommitted, 5-star wide receiver, and more is going to decommit from Alabama. So there's going to be a free-for-all coming up because of Nick Saban leaving.
Yeah. It surprised me. I didn't think he would. I didn't think he would leave. I didn't think he would leave. The way he lost the game to Michigan, and I thought he would come back. I thought he would run it back.
It was like one play. Maybe 2 or 3 different plays go differently, and they win the game, and they're in the national championship game.
Yeah.
So I would think so too. That he's like, I'm almost there. We're almost back to the top. I just need a little tweaks here and there, and we're back at it. I mean, they beat. They come back and beat Georgia because Georgia's been beating on them for a few years. They finally beat Georgia, get to the playoff, and yeah, it is surprising that he retired. Like I said, maybe it's what's coming up. Maybe it's just he said it's time. He's getting older. But one thing, I don't think the game has passed him by.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't say the game, the actual X's and O's, that didn't pass him by. I'm just talking about the transfer portal, NIL stuff.
Right. Everything else coming with college football.
Yeah.
So it's very amazing what's going on right now in football. But going to some of these players like Penix and McCarthy, and where do you think some of these players are going to land in the NFL? Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, he's coming
actually, quote unquote, declared for the NFL draft, which you already knew he's going to the NFL draft.
Yes,
I mean, he's a top 3 prospect. People saying he's possibly going to be the best player coming out of this year, the 2024 draft. With Penix, they're kind of pushing him down, and I don't like that because he's one of the best. He's the runner-up in the Heisman Trophy to Jaden Daniels. I mean, where do you see some of these players going?
I don't like that talk with Penix because he faced a top-tier defense. He just had a bad game, and to tell you the truth, he wasn't playing that bad in the first half. And then it was the second half when that defense heated up. I believe he's going to be fine. He's going to get drafted high and everything. And I also believe if it would have came down to a shootout, like if Michigan and Washington had to shoot it out, that Penix would have tore it up. And J.J. McCarthy, he just wasn't going to be able to shoot it out with him. But I believe that Penix Jr. is going to go probably to what are the Giants picking at?
They're 5.
Oh, he might not be there.
Well, I seen the mock draft that the Giants may pick Jaden Daniels at 5.
They'll take Jaden Daniels? Okay.
Yeah.
And Bo Nix is coming out, right?
Yep. Well, he better. He's been in college football for like 6 years.
Okay.
He's a super duper senior.
Yeah. So he so Penix is going to come out. I don't know. I'll be lying if I sat here and tell you who's going to take him. But I know Giants are looking for a quarterback. It's kind of sad that they gave that dude Daniels all that money, but they're gonna be stuck with it. They're gonna be stuck with it for a couple seasons.
So right now I'm looking at the top, players coming out. Number 1 right now is Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, okay, all right.
Caleb Williams is 2. Drake May is 3.
Okay.
Fashanu from Penn State is 4, offensive tackle.
All right.
Joe Alt, offensive tackle, Notre Dame is 5. Rome Aduze, wide receiver from Washington, is 6. Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia, is 7. Dallas Turner, outside linebacker, Alabama is 8. Malik Neighbors, wide receiver from LSU, is 9. And Amaris Mims, offensive tackle from Georgia, is 10. Right outside of the top 10, Jaden Daniels is 11 at LSU. So offensive line, quarterback, and wide receiver, very heavy in this upcoming draft. A lot of offensive weapons. For me, the Giants, I would want them to take an offensive lineman.
Okay.
Desperately need that, and that's the Notre Dame offensive lineman. If not, I would say not going to get Marvin Harrison, but Mike could get the Washington wide receiver.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
He's not Marvin Harrison Jr., but he's good.
Right. Oh, he's a great wide receiver.
Yeah, great wide receiver.
How do you see your Eagles?
Doing in the draft?
Well, I know they got a lot, to wait during the playoffs and everything like that, and they've been not good. Lost 5 or 6 games.
No, they stink, man. I wonder,
what would they need? That's what I'm asking.
They need a replacement for Kelsey. I believe Kelsey's probably gonna retire after this season. He talked about it last season. You know what they say when you talking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you're about ready.
Yeah, you're about ready. And Kelsey is a Hall of Fame center, and they need to find a replacement for him.
Yeah, he's been injured. He's been nicked up a lot. I mean.
Yeah, and then they need they need to work on that defense, the middle of the field. They need a safety. I don't know how many times I've seen that one safety get burnt over the top. I think it's number 36. I believe that's what he is. I mean, this dude's gotten burnt over the top so many times, man. So they need a safety. They need to work on the secondary. They need to figure it out.
And what's weird, that was their strong point last
season. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think a lot of times the coaching was the issue with the Eagles as well.
I would like to see them. Like I told you earlier before we came on the air, I would like to see Frank Wright come back as offensive coordinator and bring Jim Shorts back as a defensive coordinator, and then go from there.
Right. Yeah.
Soriano is cool, man. I mean, I'm not blaming him.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense there with the Eagles. We're gonna come right back, talk more football, and NFL playoffs. A wild card weekend is coming up. We're gonna give you our picks. But keep it locked right here. Let's keep 1 Million Show.
Mm-hmm. My son had me looking at this one video about my son had me look at this one video about the about the best halftime shows.
Oh really?
Yeah, and Prince was
they
had
the number one.
They had A, B, C, D, E, F, and Prince was in the A tier because they said it was so awesome that he ended it with Purple Rain and it was raining. When he did it. And I remember that show. That show was epic.
I forget what Super Bowl that was.
I forget what Super Bowl it was. But did you know? Interesting fact. Did you know that there was never a halftime show for a long time? They usually just had a band come out or whatever.
Like the teams
bands, something like that. But what happened was one year in Living Color, they did a halftime show. They just did a. So when halftime came up, you tuned into a Living Color.
Right, I remember that.
They watched the skits and they had a little timer in the corner to show you when the game was going to come back on. And then the game came back on. So whoever was there in the Super Bowl was like, hold up. Then the next year was like, hold up. And then the next year they had Michael Jackson do the halftime show. Then
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I remember they had their little quick halftime little thing.
Yeah. Yep. It actually was pretty funny too.
Yeah. We're back. Keep 1 Million Show. I'm Dwayne.
Sean P.
On 90.7 FM KRDP. Yeah, we're just talking about this song here, Prince, Purple Rain. The halftime, one of the best halftime Super Bowls ever.
Ever. Man, I miss that dude. That Prince was amazing, man.
Yeah.
Prince was amazing.
Right. And this year is going to be Usher in
Oh,
Vegas.
yeah.
So that's going to be.
Oh, that's right,
interesting.
because Usher does his show in Vegas. Yeah.
He ended his residency, I think, in November.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, now you know they're most likely rehearsing and practicing the halftime. I want to see who he's going to bring out.
Oh, you know he's bringing Lil Jon and Luda out for yeah. You know he's doing that.
Right. Yeah. I want he's going to, because I'll listen to this music and there was a song came on where I didn't realize Usher had a song with Beyonce. And I was like, yeah, he's not going to do that. They're not going to bring out Beyonce. That would go crazy.
That would go crazy.
That would be wild.
Probably not. Her halftime show was good too.
Yeah, it was.
Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and the boys. That was an awesome one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll go with Wild Card Weekend.
Let's go.
And you got Browns, Texans, Dolphins, Chiefs, Steelers, Bills, Packers, Cowboys, Lions, Rams, and Eagles, Buccaneers.
Yeah.
What's crazy about the Eagles, Buccaneers is the Buccaneers won their division and they host the Eagles, who are 11-6. Bucks are 9-8.
Okay.
So first off, Texans and Browns. Texans are at home. Cleveland is a 2.5 favorite.
All right. It's tough because that Cleveland defense is nasty. C.J. Stroud. Oof. This is hard, man.
I think it's going to be a great game.
It's going to be a good game.
That's on the 13th.
You know what? Flacco's been playing good, too.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Can we come back to that one?
And then the night game on the 13th is Chiefs-Dolphins. Chiefs are at home, and they're a 5-point favorite. That's the Tyreek Hill game coming back.
Yeah, and it's predicted to be the coldest game in NFL history.
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to go with the Chiefs with that one because Miami's not gonna do good.
-4 degrees.
They're not gonna do good in that cold weather, man. People don't understand that ball gets hard. That ball gets hard when it's in that cold weather. Whew.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think on that one I have the Chiefs as well. So we're both gonna do that. And the Browns Texans, for me, that is hard. But I'm gonna go with the Browns on experience. Now they both ain't been in the playoffs, but as far as player experience, with the players they have versus these young players the Texans have, I think especially with Flacco knowing how to win, being in that situation, being on a Super Bowl run, winning a Super Bowl, I'm going to pick the Browns on that one.
You know what? I'm going to go with the Browns as well. I don't know how many players are still there, but a few years ago they made it to the playoffs. They actually almost made it to the AFC Championship game.
Right.
So, you know what? Yeah, let's go with the Browns. Close game though.
Now on the 14th, you have Bills at home versus Steelers. Buffalo's a 10-point favorite.
Ooh, that's a lot. But yeah, I got Buffalo though, because T.J. Watt's hurt. Steelers made it to the playoffs. Much respect due to Mike Tomlin and them boys.
Yeah.
But I just believe Buffalo got this.
Yeah, I'm also gonna pick Buffalo. They're on a mission. They won that division, beating the Dolphins in Miami. If the Dolphins would have won, it would have been again Dolphins-Bills in Miami. So I don't know what happened with the Dolphins in that game, but the Bills, they're on a mission, and they're the team that everyone says no one wants to see right now. So we'll go with the Bills. Cowboys, Packers. This is like a yearly thing, you know. Packers beat the Cowboys for the past few years with Aaron Rodgers, but now you have Jordan Love there in Jerry World. Dallas is 7-point favorite.
Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah, Dallas.
You know I'm not a Cowboys fan, but
No, I'm not a
I'm not
Cowboys fan
sure.
either. But they got a really
Yeah,
good team, like a team, man.
I'm gonna have to do it as well. Go Cowboys at home. I don't know. That could be an upset. I don't know. Yeah, because some reason the Cowboys always do something crazy in the playoffs that have you scratching your head why they do that.
That is true. That is true.
I'm gonna come back to that one. I'm not gonna make my pick there. I'm gonna come back to that one. I'm not sure. Rams, Lions, possibly the most interesting game of the playoffs.
It's gonna be interesting.
Lions are at home, 3-point favorite. Golf versus Matthew Stafford. Rams are another one of the hottest teams in the league. Lions, first time 12 wins in so long, win the division, poised to make a run. What you got?
You know, beginning of the season, we both said they was gonna win their division too.
Yeah.
Who's the Lions the underdog or
Detroit's a 3-point favorite.
is it 3-point favorite? Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go with the home team. I'm gonna go to Detroit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Lions there. I think that crowd's gonna be jumping. So I mean, remember when was the last time they had a home playoff game? I can't even
Back in
imagine.
Barry Sanders' rookie year, maybe.
I don't even know
year.
when. I don't even know when. Like you had to look that up when last time they had a home playoff game. And then on the 15th, Buccaneers at home versus the Eagles. Philly is a 3-point favorite.
Oh, they are?
Yeah,
Nah, I got the Bucks.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, I got the Bucks. I just don't. I think Baker Mayfield's gonna have like 250 passing yards, and they going and the Eagles gonna find a way to lose it. They're gonna go back home.
You're betting on Baker Mayfield?
No, I'm betting against that Eagles defense.
Oh, man.
It's like, look, they got lit up by Tyrod Taylor, Sam Howell. I mean, they're like,
So all your Philly family and friends, I know they gotta be.
No,
they
no,
gotta be like.
no. I am a
They-
rational Eagles fan. I'm not
I
one of those people
understand
that's
that.
like, oh, they're going to win the Super Bowl. No, nah. They're going to lose. Go back to Philly. Sirianni.
Your friends and family are excommunicating you.
Nah, no, they're not.
If the Eagles win,
if they win,
I'm going for the Eagles. By the way,
um,
they're gonna quote unquote turn it on.
okay.
That's what they're gonna do.
If I'm wrong, I mean,
Jalen Hurts.
I'm not scared to admit when I'm wrong.
Let's just say this: if they got their Kelly Greens on, it's a wrap. They got the Kelly Greens on, it's over.
The Kelly Greens.
Just have Hurts wear number 12 instead of 1.
I was about to say that too.
It'll be over.
Put a 2 on that.
Yep. I for me, even if the Giants and the few times when they won their Super Bowls, they were limping in to the playoffs. 9 and 7, I think, both years. And one year, I remember the last game, they lost. Remember, Patriots go undefeated. That last game they played the Giants.
Yeah.
And the Giants played them so good. I was like,
They played them real good.
I was watching that game like, we can beat them.
Mm-hmm.
They was already in the playoffs. They really didn't need that game. The Patriots didn't need it either, but they wanted to break all the records, go undefeated regular season. They did that. But then we met them again in the Super Bowl, and we took it to them. So you can't count the Eagles out. You can't.
I will say this:
you can't count them
what
out.
that Giants team did was they showed you how to beat a Tom Brady-led team. They said if you got a strong front four and you don't have to blitz, that's how you think. Think about the 3 teams he lost to. That Philly team, they had a strong front four and they didn't have to blitz. That's how you win that game against Tom Brady, because he's gonna eat you up if you got blitz him. So yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, and maybe I'm just being emotional. Maybe I am. I'm gonna go with the Bucks though.
You're upset about the Eagles. I get it. One last thing we got to get into. I mean, I guess the internet's is on fire with this Stephen A. Smith versus Jason Whitlock. I kind of ignored it. I mean, you watched it. I mean, what's going on with that?
Pretty much Jason Whitlock went on this show. 'Cause, what I do is I tend to watch different things on YouTube and the internet. I like to see both sides. I don't like to just look at people I agree with. I want to see people that I disagree with as well, and look at their stuff. And Jason Whitlock had been talking some mess about a lot of people, not just Stephen A. Smith. But with Stephen A. Smith, he said that Stephen A. Smith did not write his book, did not write his articles at the Philadelphia Inquirer. He said a lot of disparaging things like that is hurtful to journalists, to writers. You hold up, I write my own stuff. It's just like telling a rapper, a straight MC, like telling Rakim he don't write his own rhymes. Telling KRS-One he don't write his own rhymes. Same thing. Telling Stephen A. Smith he don't write his own articles and then write his own book, his own autobiography, his own memoir. And he said some other things, and Stephen A. he went on his podcast and and he literally aired them out. He aired them out. He was cussing and everything. I was like, man. Okay. Yeah. I actually was there for the mess. I saw it. I was like, man, Stephen A. going in, and it wasn't Cat Williams type, because Cat Williams was actually funny with it.
Right.
But Stephen A. I mean, Cat Williams was funny because Cat Williams is a genius comedian. Stephen A. was funny because you just like that he cussing this dude out. Called him words I can't use on FCC airwaves, man. He was straight up like
he was on straight YouTube, and for me, I didn't mess with it because it seemed like we see what Cat Williams did. Mm-hmm. He set the internet on fire. Man. I mean that interview is over 25 million views.
No, it's like about 40 million.
Oh, it's more than. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's up there.
So you see that. And you see these media types, they want a piece of that. Mm-hmm. They've never seen that before, so they want a piece of that. Mm-hmm. So what are they going to do? Jason Whitlock goes on his tirade out of the,
No, it hasn't been out of the blue.
No, it hasn't.
He's been going in on Stephen A. for quite a while. Okay. Stephen A., Dion, Shannon.
I've seen the Dion and stuff like that, but my thing is, we know about, in this generation of media, who to watch, who's where the numbers are. Jason Whitlock's like on an island by himself on the YouTube landscape. He's been fired from so many different publications and ESPN and Fox and all this, and it's like, why are you listening to this guy? And then, like, it dawned on me, Stephen A. just using this for clicks, for views, for shock value. Mm-hmm. The whole Howard Stern thing from back in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. To me, it seems like that's what Stephen A. is doing, because this is someone most, if not all, sports media types, especially black sports media types, do not even acknowledge that he even exists in the same space as them. Yeah. So for Stephen A. Smith to say, I'm tired of this fat bleep, 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 and then he goes on this 1 hour tirade, it's like, why even using that energy for that when you could be talking about something more important?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because once you insult a man's credibility, he felt as though he had to defend that. If you notice, Stephen A. didn't say anything for a long time until he said he didn't write his own stuff and didn't do that. Then that's when Stephen A. had to be like, you know what? Let me do this.
So he had to make a diss track.
Yeah, make a diss track, whatever you want to call it. But I don't blame Stephen A. for going in on him. But you are correct. He didn't have to, and maybe he shouldn't have. But I will say this: Jamel Hill said what you just said. She said in the black journalist hemisphere, nobody messes with Whitlock.
Stan Brett said the same thing. Yeah. He said that on Twitter. If you know about black journalists, black sports media type, no one messes with him. Comedians have said this years ago about Jason Whitlock, and it's like, yeah, they're holding on by a thread. I would say him, Marcellus Wiley, and some others are holding on by a thread.
I never thought Marcellus Wiley was that bad. I thought he was pretty decent.
It's some things he said that rubbed people the wrong way. Now he's like just Jason Whitlock, somewhere on these YouTube streets, trying to get views. And the reason why I say about Stephen A. Smith, it wasn't a good look, because it looks like you're clout chasing. It looks like you're in it just for the views. Yeah, it probably got 1 million views for what you said, and 10,000 more subscribers and whatnot. But what's gonna happen next week? Are you gonna have to have a fight with someone next week? You know what I mean? Or are you gonna go back to doing real interviews? And I mean, come on, you had Tom Brady on the show. You had all these guys on his show just recently. You don't have to do this. And I think from the Cat Williams situation, and other people are coming out, and things of that nature, with the Pat McAfee situation, I think Stephen A. just had to go on this bandwagon of just, I'm going to tell my truth. I'm going to tell you my side of the story, and it was really unnecessary.
That's where we disagree on. I don't think it was for clickbait. He didn't need it. He didn't need to do it for clickbait. And I appreciate somebody just standing up for yourself. Be like, hold up, man. I'm not gonna let you do this. But however, I mean, there's a lot of people that feel the way you feel. There's a lot of people that feel the way I feel. So.
I'll show you that. Yeah.
He just showed me a meme.
There's a picture of Stephen A. versus Jason Whitlock.
Oh man, okay. And I know you wanted to talk about the McAfee thing. With Aaron Rodgers.
We had a couple minutes.
Just real quick, I felt like Aaron Rodgers he should be able to defend himself against Jimmy Kimmel. Now, did he go too far? Probably so. Now, he didn't outright call him a pedophile, but he said he was on the list and stuff like that, the Jeffrey Epstein list. So, but then they told him he couldn't come back to ESPN for a while, and this, that, and the third. But I tell people that that Disney runs that. I mean, you gotta be real careful what platform you on and what you say. Like, if Aaron Rodgers would have been on some obscure YouTube platform, who cares? But he was on the worldwide leader of sports, spouting that out.
Yeah,
can't get away with that.
On that note, I think Jimmy Kimmel may have a case, but I don't think. If he pursues it, I don't think it's going to go far.
No,
they may settle immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen how everything's going right now? Someone, claims foul, and that person who's a bigger name than them, they settle out of court immediately. So
I just say
that may happen.
Go have a fist fight, man. All that.
That never happened. That's not gonna happen.
I know.
We're just gonna shout it out on these platforms, and I think we're gonna see more. With that being said, we're going to go to the next hour. Keep locked right here. Let's keep 1 million show.
Reserve.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my